What's happening, guys? So I'm gonna be doing a leak down finally for this car and then start stripping this thing down. So real quick, I'm going to start taking the intake off and pull all of those coil packs out and spark plugs and finally get this leak down done. My holdup before was that I didn't know how to even like hand crank this engine. So it turns out you either need a specialty tool or you can just like use the damper bolts. So I don't feel like hunting down the specialty tool right now. So I'm gonna try using these damper bolts and bring each piston up to top dead center for the leak down test. All right, all 5 coil packs are out. I just loosened the first spark plug, so got that guy out. So I'm ready to get the leak down tester hooked up here. So I got air pressure ready in the tank. Oh wait, actually I forgot to get this. I gotta get cylinder 1 at top dead center first. So let's see what size triple square those bolts are. And then I'll stick something into cylinder 1 so that I can check to see. Actually, this is gonna be really difficult with just myself. I stuck a socket extension, this 3/8 extension, all the way down in here so that it sits on top of the piston. So now I can try to hand crank this and watch for when it stops. Watch for when it stops going up. So let's see how difficult this is to hand crank. It's not too bad. So yeah, this is gonna be really hard to do with just myself. So I might have to wait until I get a helper here because I can't see anything. Like I'm not gonna be able to check to see when that stops. So by putting a little pipe on the ratchet, I'm able to actually hand crank this while I look at the extension that I put in here. So I'm able to actually watch it go up and then stop. So I actually am able to do this by myself. So I just did cylinder number 3 and it was so bad, like it wasn't even holding any pressure. So now I have it set up for number 1. So let's see what happens with number 1. Really bad again. I don't know what's going on. It feels like I'm missing something. I mean, there's very minimal leakage coming out of the actual spark plug hole. Sounds like it's just coming out of the intake manifold. I wish I could like easily undo this plug right here. With a little extension, with a little 1/4 inch, I should be able to get this guy off. All right, cylinder number 3 is passing with flying colors, pretty much. It was, let's see, I'm putting 68 in right now. I don't have any more in the tank to put any more in, but 68, and it's holding 65, so that's pretty darn good. It's actually about 67 and 65, so that's great. That's like 3% loss. I'll take that. I'm putting just a hair under 60 in, and it's holding just under 57. So that's probably like a 4.5, 5% loss. All right, cylinder number 5 is almost identical to number 1. So here I'm putting in 50 PSI and it's holding about 28. And you can feel it coming out of the crankcase big time. It's actually coming out of the intake manifold a little bit as well. Just a real little bit. It's mostly coming out of the crankcase. So yeah, similar to number 1, something's going on with the piston ring and the cylinder wall. That pressure is going right past that ring. But yeah, so we got 1 and 5 done. Those were both about the same. 4 was actually pretty good. 3 was pretty good. So 2 is the only one I need to go back and check. All right, so I got cylinder 2 working now. So I'm putting 50 PSI in and it's holding 44, 43. So that's a 14% loss. That's not great. That's actually bad. I definitely feel a bunch coming out of the crankcase. I don't feel any coming out of the intake manifold. So hopefully that's all just crankcase. Definitely feels like it. So that means 1, 2, and 5 have some cylinder wall damage or blown rings. I'm interested to see what those cylinder walls look like and what those piston ring gaps are. So before I take this engine out, I really want to scan it for codes, because I think if I take the engine out and like none of the connectors are connected and I try to scan it, I'm pretty sure it's gonna like just throw a ton of open circuit codes. So yeah, I'd like to do that now, but the issue is that my VCDS cable doesn't work and I don't know what's going on with it. I just took the casing off of it, and I was hoping to just find that the USB cable part of it is broken, but I just did a little check. You can see right here, the 4 wires from the USB cable go onto this printed circuit board, and you can see those 4 spots right there. 5 volt, it reads upside down. 5 volts, DM, DP, and ground. I checked each one of those using my multimeter for continuity. So I went to each of these 4 guys. I just put the multimeter on one of them and then tapped it on one of those just to make sure that they're continuous. There's not a break in the line. And yeah, all 4 are good. And I also checked to make sure that none of those were like shorted to ground, and that came back good. There's no shorts. If there is an issue with this, it's either an issue on the board itself, which I probably would not be able to troubleshoot. I'd like to learn how to, but I'm not that good with electronics, and I don't see anything that's like clearly burnt, anything that like fried on here. There's not really anything else I can do, I don't think, so that kind of sucks. I'm gonna play around with it a little bit more on the software side, just to make sure I'm not just like being an idiot with the drivers. But yeah, it looks like I'm probably gonna have to buy a new cable, which kind of sucks. But tomorrow I will start stripping some things out of the engine and prepping to pull the motor. These things are meaty. 255s. Oh, there's the turbo. That's a big girl right there. Some oil collecting on the bottom of it. It's probably from the catch can recirculation. Since the catch can recirculates to the intake, the intake before the turbo, so maybe the catch can isn't working very well. I can check for the shaft play real quick. So there's supposed to be a little bit of play, and there is a tiny bit of play, but it seems to be a normal amount. It's barely moving. So That's good. I'm probably gonna get this turbo inspected just to play it safe, because I'd rather not get everything back together and then find out that the turbo has an issue. So while everything's apart, I'm gonna get the turbo inspected, get the injectors tested, all that stuff. I guess they had a exhaust leak here. So this looks like it's the diverter valve, and it just dumps the atmosphere over here. But oddly, the thing that controls it is this hose that comes over here to this part that the throttle body bolts onto. So I'm not really following exactly how this works.